Look, labels are only as useful. They're only useful if they're useful to you. I just wouldn't worry about it too much uh, because everything is on a spectrum, and that spectrum can change throughout your life. And, let's say that you are kind of, first of all, it is normal to be excited by anything that feels taboo. It doesn't even have to mean anything. It doesn't have to have great significance about who you are as a person. We are hardwired to find that exciting. There's an edge to it. I'm not supposed to do this, therefore it's sexy. It's exciting. So there's that, okay? Curiosity is normal. You may be a little bit hardwired to be a little bit more flexible and with your thinking. I am. I notice that I am a very flexible person with my thinking in general. I used to really struggle with this thing where I found it difficult to ever really be angry at anyone because I can almost always find some way to understand why they did what they did, why they do what they do, why they are the way they are. And because of that, I've always found it very hard. I'm not a very black and white thinker at all. And that, interestingly, crosses over into how I view relationships and sexuality. It's not like I'm in an open relationship. But my way of thinking, that sort of flexibility and the ability to think about the gray areas, is also how I think about all kinds of other aspects of my life. When I stepped back, I was like, oh, this isn't just about sex or just about dating. I'm also very in the gray about lots of things. I can understand a lot of things. I'm open and flexible with a lot of ideas. And so you also may be somewhat more of a flexible thinking person, whereas there's other people that are quite black and white about, they have the strong convictions, strong feelings about things, and they think differently. And then there's people who are a little bit more, flexible. I am one of those people. Maybe that's you. Maybe it's not even really about your sexuality as much as about being a little curious. Maybe you're a person with a high novelty sex drive. My partner has very much a high novelty sex drive. He is very interested he wants new jelly beans in his jar of life, if you know what I mean. And that is almost more important than anything else, even his sexuality. It's more about, I think, his novelty sex drive than anything else. He's also a flexible thinker. He's very flexible, so he can understand people, things. That's very similar to me. He has that way of viewing most of life. And also, he has a high drive to try new experiences. In regular life too, not just sexually. But yes, sexually. He's like, oh, I've never been with this kind of person. I've never tried that. That would be cool. He likes that. So of course, it makes sense that he's like, dick, that's interesting. I've not done that. And he kind of wanted to try it, and he has. So that also may be who you are as a person. And it's not so simple as saying, I'm gay, I'm bisexual, I'm this, I'm that, because there's so much more that goes into that, right? And also, maybe you like sex and you think dick is actually kind of exciting, and maybe it feels good and it feels cool and weird and different and it's kind of hot because it's edgy for you and it feels different and exciting, but you still are romantically interested in women and not interested in dating men and not interested in sharing your life with a man. That's fine too. And you can say you're bisexual, but you don't need to have a label. It doesn't really matter. Unless it matters to you and it helps make you feel better. Like, oh my God, why am I so red that does that make sense? Like, labels are useful if they're useful to you. And if they're not useful to you, don't worry about it. We have bodies, we like to do stuff with them. And that's fine. Have fun.